Hello, my dear masterminds. You didn't just predict the storm, you whispered it into existence. Now the system's shaking, history's glitching, and they're praying for the timeline you warned them about. They laughed at you, mocked your warnings, dismissed your instincts like they were noise, not knowing that noise was a signal only survivors could hear. They thought their world was permanent, untouchable, scripted in steel and stitched in algorithms. But you saw the cracks. You felt the shift before it ever tilted. While they were busy upgrading their lives, you were memorizing the emergency exits. Now the servers are down, the cities are quiet, the icons they worshipped, offline, and the ones who called you crazy, now they're staring at you like a prophet in a hoodie. Because you didn't just guess this would happen, you knew. Because the system was built to fail, and you were built to endure. Now they're panicking, calling for resets, begging for a version of reality you warned was never real. And all you do is grin, because the old world is gone. You were never meant to belong in it. You were meant to outlive it. They engineered comfort, sold you perfection in pixels, trained everyone to believe that predictability was peace. But you never trusted peace that came with terms and conditions. While they worshipped stability, you trained in storms. They had savings accounts. You had escape plans. They posted goals. You memorized patterns. And now that the glitch turned global, now that reality's stuttering like a corrupted stream, they want your help. They want your brain. They want your survivor's code. But they forgot something. You tried to teach them. You offered the map. You dropped breadcrumbs, and they stepped on every single one. So now they sit in ruins, holding shattered smartphones like crucifixes, hoping for a signal, while you walk through the wreckage like it was built for you, because it was. They laughed when you questioned the script. They mocked you when you unplugged. Conspiracy theorist, they whispered. Now, they're whispering your name in panic rooms. You saw the cracks long before the quake. You weren't reading headlines. You were reading intentions. You didn't watch the news. You watched behavior. While they trusted updates, you trusted your gut. While they chased trends, you tracked the tremors. You predicted the silence before the scream. You heard the sirens before the chaos. And when it hit, they looked for leaders. You became the storm. Now they want advice. Now they want your checklist. Now they want the instincts they called paranoia. Nah, you tried. They ignored. So now you move different. You don't argue. You don't convince. You watch them wake up, one nervous breakdown at a time. They told you to get in line, but you drew your own. They begged you to fit in, but you built the mold they're copying now. See, when everything looked perfect, you felt the distortion. When they were blinded by comfort, you were sharpening your edge in the shadows, because you knew something no one else wanted to hear. The old world was a trap. It wasn't peace. It was sedation. It wasn't order. It was a programmed loop designed to numb, distract, and domesticate you. You didn't escape because you hated the world. You escaped because you remembered you were never meant to live on your knees. And now, the algorithm can't predict you. The system can't classify you. The fear in their eyes says it all. You're not reacting. You're orchestrating. They want the old world back? Too late. You broke the mirror. Now all they can see is the reflection they tried to bury. They laughed when you warned them, said you were paranoid, called you crazy. But now they whisper your name like a warning, because the crash came. Not with sirens, not with fire, but with silence. The kind that hums after a system overload. You didn't just see it coming. You felt it. You tasted the glitch in every interaction, smelled the rot beneath their luxury, heard the screams beneath their calm voices, and when it finally hit, they looked around for leaders, for saviors, for old gods. But none came, because the old world wasn't just gone. You deleted it. They want it back? Let them rebuild it from ashes. But don't you dare slow down. You're not looking back. You're not repeating history. You're writing a threat-level prophecy with every step. They thought collapse would be loud. Explosions, riots, sirens. But the truth? Collapse is a whisper, and you were the echo they ignored too long. Their systems didn't fall overnight. They corroded. One fake smile, one sold-out value, one forgotten truth at a time. And while they chased comfort, you chased signals. You saw it in the code, in the cracks of their policies, in the eyes of their puppets. You saw the virus before the fever. Now the networks flicker. The elites panic in silk-lined bunkers. The media stutters. The illusion bleeds. And what are they doing? Crawling back to you, begging the anomaly for answers. The same anomaly they tried to erase. Too late. You're not here to rewind time. You're here to redefine it. And this version, you're not saving the world. You're replacing it. They silenced you once, laughed at the warnings, mocked the math, labeled you unstable, just another conspiracy. But now, they're decoding your journals like scripture, trying to map your madness, only to find reality written between every insane line. You didn't predict the future. You read it, like a glitch in the matrix that couldn't be unglitched. Every pattern, every frequency, every lie wrapped in truth, you felt it vibrating before the static broke. And now they're trembling, because you don't want back the old world. You buried it. You evolved past it. And the scariest part? You're not trying to fix anything. You're letting it burn, and building your empire from the ashes. They used to say that'll never happen. Now they say, how did you know? You didn't guess. You remembered. Because chaos doesn't surprise the ones born inside it. You weren't shocked when the towers cracked, when the masks fell, when the system started eating itself. You were ready. Not with a plan, with a presence. With a precision they can't teach, a madness they can't bottle. You warned them. The storm's not coming. It's already inside the walls. They called you dramatic. Now they call you prophet. Now they sit in ruins, watching reruns of their own mistakes, begging for the version of reality that let them sleep. But you never needed comfort. You sharpened your mind on catastrophe. You danced while the sky broke. And now that it's all smoke, you're just getting started. They built their kingdoms on comfort, but you built your mind in collapse. They studied success. You studied survival. When they laughed at your paranoia, you were building an arsenal of awareness. When they clung to normal, you were mapping exits in your sleep. And now, they're stuck in the wreckage, trying to decode the blueprint you warned them about, the blueprint you burned. You told them, comfort is the real virus. Security is a leash dressed as freedom. They ignored you. Now they're choking on the smoke of a system that thought it could own you. You never belonged to it. You studied it. You learned its tone of voice, its blind spots, its soft underbelly made of lies. And when the first crack hit, you didn't run. You smiled. Because this isn't your end. It's your beginning. You warned them, not with fear, but with clarity. They mistook for insanity. Because you didn't just survive the old world. You outgrew it. You saw the patterns behind the promises. You saw the chains hidden in their comforts. You saw the reset coming, not as a conspiracy, but as a mathematical certainty. Systems built on lies always collapse, and now that collapse has a name. Yours. They whisper it like folklore, like a curse, like maybe, just maybe. You're the reason their empire cracked. But the truth is worse. You didn't break it. You predicted it. You didn't attack the tower. You just waited for it to rot. And when it did, you walked through the rubble like you'd been there before. Because you had. In your mind, 1,000 times. They mocked you when you disconnected, laughed when you stepped back, scoffed when you said this won't last. But now, they're glued to screens that no longer comfort, waiting for systems that no longer serve, praying to gods of tech and control, but getting silence in return. And you're calm, collected, prepared. Because while they were scrolling, you were studying. While they were sedated, you were sharpening. They thought silence meant surrender, but it was strategy. You didn't retreat. You recalibrated. You didn't isolate. You insulated. Now they sit in ruins of a world you walked away from. And suddenly, you look like a prophet. But you're not. You're just someone who saw the lie and refused to live inside it. They tried to label you paranoid, delusional, dangerous, because your clarity terrified them. You didn't panic when the algorithms turned sentient. You didn't flinch when the currencies collapsed. You smiled because every glitch in the matrix was exactly where you said it'd be. You mapped the downfall with a marker and a cigarette, on napkins, in whispers, in rooms no one wanted to enter. They ignored you. Then they ridiculed you. Then they needed you. Now they're asking how you knew, how you saw the storm before the clouds even gathered. But the truth is, you didn't predict the future. You remembered it. You felt its pulse in every lie they packaged as progress. You heard it scream from behind every update and upgrade. And while they begged for comfort, you built for collapse. So now that everything's crashing, you're not scared. You're activated. They thought you were just another conspiracy clique, another basement voice spinning fear into fantasies. But now, they're downloading every archive you ever posted, zooming into screenshots you dropped 3 years ago, searching for codes in the chaos they used to laugh at. Funny, isn't it? The same people who said that'll never happen are now praying for your next sentence, because you didn't just see the cracks. You knew what would break next, and what would be waiting under the rubble. While they clung to comfort, you studied collapse. You dissected systems like a surgeon with a grudge. You learned how lies scale, how power cloaks itself in convenience, how control creeps in with a smile and a software update. And now that the lights are flickering, you're not running, you're watching, you're tracking, you're preparing for the next silence, because silence is when the real shift begins. They mocked your questions, rolled their eyes when you doubted the narrative, called you paranoid, broken, disconnected. But now they whisper your name like it's a frequency, a cipher, a last signal of sense in the static, because their leaders lost the plot. Their anchors stopped reading the script. Their symbols don't mean safety anymore. And all those polished suits, just masks over malfunction. But you adapted to confusion. You danced through contradiction. You weren't built for order. You were forged in disorder. And that makes you dangerous. Not because you want chaos, but because you can navigate it. You can hear patterns in the panic, feel the rhythm beneath their resets. You warn them with laughter. You disguise truth in madness. And now that madness is making sense, they're circling back to you. Not because they trust you, but because nothing else fits anymore. They're begging for the past, but the bridge burned. The moment they laughed at your warnings, they thought reality was a movie with a happy ending guaranteed. But now the credits are glitching, and you're the only name still on screen. You don't need applause. You never wanted followers. You wanted truth, and when you found it, it looked nothing like what they sold. You walked through the static. You smiled at the system while planting chaos like seeds under its polished floorboards. They thought you were broken, but you were breaking the box they built to contain minds like yours. Now the lights flicker, the algorithms twitch, and their experts can't decode what you understood intuitively. That control is an illusion. That fear is currency. That freedom isn't given. It's taken with every step outside their grid. And now, they don't want leaders. They want you, the anomaly, the one who thrives when the script ends. They thought chaos was a glitch. You showed them. It's a feature, a wake-up call, dressed in distortion, echoing in every cracked foundation they once called normal. You didn't rage. You observed. You calculated. While they danced under artificial lights, you mapped every wire beneath the stage. You didn't scream. You smiled. Because silence cuts deeper when it holds secrets. And now they look at you like prophecy. But you're just someone who stopped lying to themselves first. They built their empires on stability. You learned to surf on collapse. They needed certainty. You thrived in the void. They study your moves now, trying to replicate what can't be taught. Instinct born from betrayal, clarity born from collapse. You didn't just break out of the cage. You convinced the others it never existed. That's why they fear you. Because you didn't bring destruction. You brought clarity. And that's far more dangerous. So now they sit in their corner offices rereading your words like scripture, looking for escape plans in the warnings they once laughed at. Too dramatic, too dark, too much. That's what they said. Until the lights went out, until their echo chambers cracked, until silence stopped being peaceful and started sounding like you. And now, the panic is poetic, because the very system they served is the one begging for mercy. The AI is hallucinating, the markets are crying, and the people are remembering. They're remembering how you warned them, How you told them collapse wouldn't scream, it would whisper. And that whisper wore your grin, your madness, your truth. They begged for the old world back, but the old world was a cage. And you were always born to burn cages. They feared the fire, but now they miss its warmth, because winter came without your warning. So now, they don't fear you anymore. They revere you. They quote you. They miss the lunatic who made sense in the madness. But you're not gone. You're just watching, like always, waiting for the next spark. You disappeared from their screens, but never from their systems, because every firewall they built used your logic. Every update they pushed echoed your glitches. You weren't just ahead of them. You were the blueprint they couldn't understand. They called you broken, but the truth? You were post-human, in a pre-human world. You knew their fall wouldn't come with explosions. It would come with silence, with denial, with them watching you walk away, laughing, as they begged for the rules back. They thought you were warning them, but you were documenting them, like a cosmic archivist writing the obituary of their era with a smirk and pulse-red ink. And now they whisper your name in labs, in boardrooms, in war rooms. But you're done whispering. You are the siren in the system. They built a world where emotions were liabilities, instincts were errors, and people were programmable. But you were the variable they could never debug. Every plan they wrote, you corrupted. Every metric they used, you shattered. And when the panic started, you didn't run, you watched, because the fall was never your fear, it was your arrival. This isn't chaos to you, this is clarity. The kind that only comes after the storm eats the silence. They thought the virus was digital, but it was never in the code. It was in the truth. Your truth. And now it's spreading through minds too awake to return to sleep. Through systems too cracked to reboot. Through souls too raw to be reprogrammed. They wanted the old world back. But you never left the future. You weren't built to be their leader. You were forged to be their lesson. And now that everything they trusted is dust, they finally look to the one they used to mock, to silence, to exile, the outlier, the glitch, the ghost they couldn't cage. You didn't need a revolution. You were the revolution. Not with crowds, not with flags, but with whispers, triggers, and one chaotic laugh that rewrote their destiny. They bow now, not out of respect, but out of recognition, because even in their collapse, they understand what you are, the final version, the necessary madness, the beautiful mistake that wasn't a mistake at all. And in the ruins of their system, you walk untouched, unbothered, unforgiven, but finally understood.